Greetings. Welcome to what we are, episode 5 of Visual PR Live. Greetings to everybody watching. Don't forget, you can put your comments, your questions, and we'll be able to put them up on screen, including your photo and your username and everything. So please do get involved. Probably more a little bit later. I'll talk about things. It may conjure up some comments from your own experiences, some questions you may have. The good news is it won't be just for me. I am going to be joined by two wonderful guests very shortly. To start with, I just want to explain what this is all about. This subject is about the power of collaboration, combining strengths of different people and different things. And I'm going to start with the things part because it's much more obvious collaboration in people. And my special guest, Graeme Leighfield, is going to be touching more in detail on that because I've seen him do this presentation before. But I wanted to just quickly touch on how you can collaborate some of your PR and marketing collateral and efforts. People run off and do something. Let me pick one of them as an example, podcast. Everybody runs off at the moment and creates podcasts, and I do encourage you, definitely do them. But the problem is they then just throw those out there and then wonder why they're getting like 10 downloads a week if they're lucky or something like that. The problem is, unless you're a celebrity, how are they going to find you? It's the right thing to do it, but to just rely purely on that and expect it to just work is a risky tactic. It's not the right way to go. So we are working on collaboration of efforts, collaboration of assets. And one of those, we start, for example, with Visual PR, we do these live, and this is live now, or as live. Sometimes we don't put them out live, but they're still just hit record and go, because it gives us that authentic, credible, engaging conversation type content that we create. And then it's really from that one piece that the client shows up for, we're able to then create a whole load more assets and start feeding from one to the other. So I'll give you for instance, we create this content here, this episode that would go out every month, every fortnight, every week, depending on the client. From that, we strip out the audio and we put that as your podcast. We put all of the descriptions, so your SEO content is within that as well. Your video content's now on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, but YouTube's the big one. It's the second biggest search engine in the world. So we make sure the episode description is what people will find when they go looking for particular topics that you and your organization are experts out, and they find it. But we then say, do you want to carry on listening to this while you're walking your dog or you're driving the car or you're working out? Take them to the sorry, my phone's going. That was very unprofessional. It is live. Yeah, if you want to listen to it, go here to the podcast. The podcast then feeds. Do you want to watch this? Because within the episode they're listening to, it talks about something visual. Feed them back to the YouTube video. We then create clips from the full episode that then your social media. That goes out. But the collaboration there is that you turn around and go, do you want to go and watch the full episode? Do you want to listen to the full episode? And it's pointing you to both of those. That's pointing you back to your social platforms, and everything's collaborating. Heck, we can even transcribe the content and we can put that as a blog post. Remember that page that you probably haven't looked at for 2 years? There hasn't been a new post on for ages. Well, suddenly you're guaranteed every single month there is content that's going to go up there that's going to help the SEO of your website, that is going to let you be found. We embed the YouTube video in it, so we're getting the what we call link juice. We're allowed to say that?
Yeah, one of many terms.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Link juice. We'll go with that. Link juice from the YouTube video in there. And of course, you can put the podcast in there as embedded, and it will spit you back to the different channels and everything like that. Heck, we can even do branded dynamic QR codes that you can put either in your printed PR that are going out in journals or papers or whatever. Have a QR code that takes them to the video and gives you stats for how many people have gone from that magazine to watch the video in full. Start getting analytics from it. That pop-up banner that you created a year ago could have had a QR code put on it, and yet even today we can redirect it so it'll always point at the latest episode. It's able to be dynamic. So we're suddenly collaborating our marketing with our PR. The different assets from it all are working together rather than making your bed and lying in it, just one route that you're going and then getting frustrated. We then get involved however much people want us involved. Do we just create so that you go and operate with everything, or we do it for you so that we make sure everything's going out to the right place, everything's connecting back from one to the other. It's just a really fun way to do it because these conversations are just naturally flowing. It's not a script that someone suddenly says, right, you stand there and say that. Okay, I'm going to talk about this now. It's just genuine. It's off the top of their head. And from that one show up, all of these assets are created and then linking. So that's where we come at from the power of collaboration. Now, we ironically are doing a lot of work personally collaborating as well, because we don't necessarily have to do as much for you because we work with organizations that do that for you work, and we provide the assets for them to do. And one of them is my first guest that you're going to see both of them now, but the first one I'm going to speak to, I will introduce both because it will feel weird, is that, first of all, make sure I get this right, the CEO of Phoenix Enterprises, Clare McDougall. Hi, Clare.
Hello there.
But the first person we're going to speak to, no offense, Claire, is Graeme. Yeah, I did. Yeah, is Graeme Leighfield, the founder of Gel Studios, who we work collaboratively, easy for me to say with. But B, my big one is that I saw you do a presentation at a networking breakfast that wasn't only me that was impressed. That resonated with a lot of people. What was it, 2-3 months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a total boardroom network.
Yeah, it
event,
was.
It was, competition.
Yeah,
is the polar opposite of collaboration, and I think what made it genuine is from a really personal place. It's actually my business's 11th birthday tomorrow.
Wow.
And up until probably about 3-4 years ago, it was very much we must go out, we must get this work, we must do everything internal. And the realization is, when the pandemic hit, we had to pivot, diversify, explore any new opportunities. And we saw a lot of other businesses struggle. Some were clients, some were peers. And we had to really lead from the front and change this mindset attitude. And the mindset really was led by my own, if to be honest. It was really succeed, wanted to do really, really well, but at what cost? Seeing pieces of work go to other people, it would be a downward spiral. It's just not a good place to be. So I came up with this idea, mini paradox. So classic, you may laugh, but it gets it. I said I did this at one talk at my old school, Kingsdown, and nobody knew what a classic mini was. But basically, if you're ever on the road and you're going out there and you see 2 minis pass one, what do? Well, they beat their horn, they do a little party.
The VW is the big one as well.
The other ones as well, yeah. When you see a classic mini going by, if they see another one, they will go mental. Yeah, in a really, really good way. Another thing, like my structures as well, they see and go, they'll tweet. And
I used to have a motorhome with my motorsport company. All the time, if you pass another motorhome owner, that it was always a wave. Everybody would wave.
Yeah. Wave. Probably should let all traffic is being slowed down behind. But anyway, my point is, I looked a lot at the same car. They're on the same roads. They're doing the same thing. They enjoy the same thing. That is just a really pure example of collaboration. And since coming to peace with my history and what was driving me, we can talk about that later. The idea of being unknown as an agency which collaborates on places, was referring work to them, providing really good income streams, something I never had when I was starting off. But also working with organizations such as Phoenix Enterprises. We have a responsibility as a sustainable, profitable business to do something more worthwhile than just benefit shareholders. And that's why the B Corp certification for us to go for that made complete sense. And that drive piece now is changed, is more to, well, if I can do that with a team of 10, what can bigger organizations do committed to the cause? Local impact, community efforts and stuff. And that's why if I was to put together that talk, I've done that quite a few times now. It's gone down. It's great to hear that feedback. But it's also an element of being brave, because sometimes to collaborate, 2 people might not be in the same place. So it's really important for somebody to go first and to be brave and to reach out for that one-to-one, to ask for that meeting, maybe just to say, I know that we've spoken before, but I know we're in the same circles. Can we go out for a coffee? And one thing would definitely come away from that being better in yourself, or equally knowing that they're not there yet. That's part of the collaboration journey. You know, that if you go first, you've started sparks of thought, inspiration, the other person in their own realization. So it's been incredibly rewarding. The benefits in terms of the bottom line, you know, collaborating with other businesses, work goes out, work comes in, works really, really well.
You've got to have some confidence to know that utopia will happen.
Well, we can all strive towards working towards a better place, right? And I think that's certainly what the B Corp movement at its core is. You know, environmental, which most people think the B Corp stuff will be, but it's also about community impact, and it's also about the well-being of the team. You know, there's three really, really key pillars around that, and that's them. Up until that point, it's really been like investors and people, and that was, you know, around one very, very important pillar, which is the people. But for us going for the B Corp certification, that wide array of knowing that we're running a business well, knowing that we've got processes and policies in place, actually adjusting our incorporation documents to say we are here to benefit, you know, the community and local places, not just shareholder return and value. I got an element of confidence, certainly as a business owner, just trying to do what I perceived as right up until that point.
Yeah, because it's all, you know, we talk about the competition or collaboration being your presentation. Is that as businesses, it's very easy for any of us to kind of get caught in going, oh no, they're doing something now, and I've got to, you know, there's enough business to go around for business.
There is.
But to take it not only to accept that, but to also kind of go, actually, we can collaborate here in some ways. It doesn't mean you live in each other's pockets, for goodness sake, but there are times and places to go, I haven't got the you know, capacity to take any more of this on. It's not quite right for you know, whether industry, geography, type of work, maybe, who knows, such a variety of things. To be able to kind of go, I need to pass that to someone else, and not be there kind of going, I guess it's like the Christmas present or birthday presents you don't give to receive. But you've got to really get yourself into that freedom of thought.
Right, and being completely honest, that mindset shift came from a place of I can't carry on the way that I am. So when you start, you know, running a business in the situation that I did, I had to make sure I had enough money coming in, quite frankly, to, you know, pay the bills, pay the mortgage. And then the team grew, the heads grew, and that mentality, that wanting to sort of bend over and do anything for the clients, came from a really genuine help. But when you're then managing around 7 or 8 people, your margins are small. You are getting stressed over the slightest little things that are coming in. You've got to actually realize, what are we actually best at? So it's quite easy for a full service agency to do anything and everything, you know, and it's perceived that we're going to do it. And that has been our approach for a very, very long time. But actually understanding that we want to only work with people that are interested in having long-term commitments with us. They see us as a provider, not a, you know, a doer, so to speak. So we want to be involved in the strategy. We want to know their business really, you know, really, really well to ultimately give them a great ROI with us. It's like, well, we've got a lot of clients here, a lot of inquiries that just don't fit that mold, and it's not worthwhile taking those things on, because I can't forecast a business off the back of short-term relationships. But also it's you know, the mindfulness stuff. You know, I as a business owner can't get good night's sleep at night worrying about, you know, clients that might end because we've done something for them in a specific way they wanted to, because they've not adhered to our process. This is where the collaboration team comes hand in hand, you know, realizing that we've got a mission over here, which is, you know, great at bringing leads in to be able to refer them over to other trusted partners, but also to openly and honestly share with other people, regardless of their business industry, that there comes a time where it shifts from paying the bills to actually sustainable work which you and your team enjoy. And that's where it came from.
And I'm sure we'll come back to this again, but I want to make sure I go. But I've kind of accelerated us straight to all of the beefy stuff there. But Gel Studios, you did touch on your full service. Now, make sure everybody's clear what those full services are.
Yeah. So ultimately, it's, you know, look, if you want to spend a marketing budget to reach goals, we can either help you reach those goals by a various array of services, digital marketing, website design, graphics design. But it comes from a position of really, really deep understanding. So we are the agency. We love to ask questions. We want to take time to get something right. We want to collaborate in workshops so that we have common understanding and working towards goals which are achievable. We've seen so much in the agency space where it's all about onboarding people. There's no real goal setting. So what happens when it comes down to renewal? We're not getting an ROI, we're going to leave. That's not us. We used to be seen as website builders. That was very much myself and the team at the time. But then realizing that the website has an important part to play in other areas of the business, naturally started to expand. Well, we've got graphics, which could be on social. We've got marketing in all of the various many guises. How can we then use a marketing plan, the strategy, the website is part of that, and all that interest.
Collaboration of services.
And look, here's a great example. We used you for our Gel Studios Live. Old Graeme was like, well, we can get a camera. Anybody, we need to do like a shot of the back or the equipment. It was a very costly exercise. You're missing out the exercise. You're missing out the expertise. You're missing out on the passion. You're doing it for the wrong reason. So to collaborate with a trusted partner makes complete sense to do that. And what does that look like? So we've collaborated with marketing strategies for Festival of Tomorrow in Swindon,
yes,
and a couple of other things. When you introduce people as trusted partners, there's an element there of obviously they're already up in the sales cycle, and also with lockdown and everything else, the landscape of buying has changed. Knowing that they've obviously made contact, which builds trusted relationships to spread the load, so to speak. People are so okay with that now. Before lockdown, it's very, very why we want to use 2 or 3 people under one remit. So it's really a case of just riding that wave, right? I think that's the way moving forward. Also, just other smaller startups, fantastic way to really give them a good night's sleep.
Yeah, no, and I think there's even a collaboration that kind of expands out of that, where it's you mentioned workshops. That's something that's fairly recent for you guys. I say fairly, probably isn't anymore.
18 months.
I was going to say it's time flies, doesn't it, when we're having fun? But it's how you are not just going, no, we've got to do absolutely everything for them. It's like also empowering them to be able to do some themselves is a big deal. And you've now got this collaboration that says they're fully invested, they're fully on board and doing their bits and pieces. But where it gets to stages that actually you could do with someone that naturally knows how to do that to work with you, but you're now empowered. Everything for me just screams of collaboration in the whole services you guys have done, which is why I asked you to be the business guest for this particular episode of Visual PR Live.
So the most recent thing of collaboration, which I'd like to share, was we were at the NGT Awards in Birmingham last week, and at the beginning, the end of last year, we had Scott Gulliver from Flop Software reach out and say, look, we've got a client, they want to redo their website. We haven't got the design scoping capabilities, but we can build it. So obviously spoke to him, he'd seen my stuff, talked about collaboration. We went in, collaboration started from putting a proposal together, getting over to them. We won that deal and beat national agencies that do campaigns that are on the television to win that. Part of that was because they are all about setting qualifications in the engineering industry to fill gaps, skills gaps. One of the unique things of collaboration, very much like why we're here ourselves today, is that we say openly to clients, if you come to work with us here, that funds budgets which enable us to do stuff over here in the form of hosting sites for charities at discounted rates, sponsoring good things, doing internships, all that kind of stuff. But the workshops was amazing. Charlie ran those, and while they were a distributed team, came to our office in Swindon, 40 of them, and they were having conversations the first time they'd ever met in person.
Wow.
Ever. And we designed it, and they built it on time, on budget, exactly what we said it was. And then we got invited to these awards last week, and to see some of the stories of people that had been through that. And we've been involved with workshops at the beginning to get into the mindset of people that are, looking for T-level, for employers that are looking at doing something. all through solutions that we built together. That is the power of collaboration, because we wouldn't have been able to do that. And all that. Love it.
No, 100%. I mean, that's just what delights me about the whole collaboration. And it was even ironic is that your speech wasn't just sort of making me go, oh my God, you're right, I need to change. It also confirmed some things that I happened to be doing and hadn't really appreciated how important they were. You do that, don't you?
We were just talking about that before we went on air, didn't we? I asked you, how's it been going? Is it what you thought it was? And your response was,
oh God, it could have been more different, absolutely, but no less fun.
No less fun.
Yeah.
But that's dare I say what it is about leadership.
Yeah.
You know, you got managers and you got leaders, and I think that the mindset of, you know, competitor or collaborator, you decide, it's putting an idea out there, and that's our job as leaders, right? It's to inspire other people, and that doesn't necessarily mean people that are in our organisation. It can be other people outside of that as well. I spoke to you many times about Simon Sinek, his, you know, Find Your Why, Leaders Eat Plants, fantastic book. Anybody can be a leader, and this is where what I'm trying to build in my organisation is that anybody has the ability to invoke change, do something different, to challenge the leadership team, or when it comes down to, you know, our mission statement about building strong, you know, sustainable, long-lasting relationships and replacing collaboration and partnership with our clients.
Yeah, and I you know full well I'm on board with that, because obviously I'm very privileged that I get paid to travel around Europe commentating on my favourite sport, motorsport, and from that kind of led on to voiceover and radio and hosting awards nights and all of those kind of things. It's really cool, and I love doing that. But it was where during lockdown I got asked to do casting circuit TV.
Yeah.
But tonight I'm doing episode 83, so they've not let me go. Yeah, it's they've not let me go at all. So, and I did this show, and what I love interviewing people, because I love hearing their stories, their knowledge, their passions, their experiences, but also the way that they articulate it. I mean, we've been doing some wonderful ones with Festival Tomorrow, those science shows. I forgot that I used to enjoy science. I hadn't done it since secondary school, and I'm just glued to these conversations going, this is amazing. But it was a prime example for me that collaboration is that visual PR for me was, I want to give a platform for organizations and for individuals, not to sort of jump in front of a camera and it to be a corporate video with a sales pitch and a script and everybody's uncomfortable doing it, everybody's uncomfortable watching, but to sit down and just have this kind of conversation that flows. And I get those, you know, those experiences, the knowledge coming out. And that's my kind of collaboration that then provides people with the ability to get those out that they've not really harnessed yet. Whether you love it or hate it, social media is here to stay, and we need to get everything out there, don't we? So, I mean, it makes sense, and that was why, Graeme, I desperately wanted to get you on board. I did put up, and I'm going to put it up again, so gelstudios.co.uk. Get in touch, and as you've heard, at the very least, is that you may be able to assist, or it may actually be that you'll advise who will. Yeah, exactly. That's the collaboration that's on board. But leading us now seamlessly on to our next guest is that one thing I've always, you know, you and I personally get together over calamari and gin inside of them.
We do product placement.
Yeah. We should do.
I love the establishment.
We do. And walking distance and everything. Yeah. Staggering. But is you try to do as much as possible with, and I'm going to say with, because it's not just for charities, but with charities, collaborating and what have you. And that's something that you're very passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, I did it up the other day, and it's now over 250,000. So if you were to put in all the websites we've done, difference we've made, you know, the you know, good old fashioned money in the bank stuff, over 11 years, it's been about £4 million. Yeah. So it's all about attracting people in terms of talent, wanting people to be able to, you know they're working for an organisation. It's not just about, you know, what are the norms now, working, get an Apple Mac, you know, they go home and they can feel proud, you know. So yeah, working with charities started in lockdown. Collective. We did their whole site, and it was used a lot. all know the state that we're all in.
Yeah.
A lot of people, food poverty and everything. It's fantastic. So all their stuff still going around, and then evolved into we'll do a website every quarter. Now it's going into like marketing plans, and it's supporting great events which benefit young people. Festival tomorrow, I've got Signal Festival coming about the arts and New Sweden Magic Initiative, and it's just grown. But the commitment that, like I said, we would take profits and they directly go to other things. And the PR piece, company comes in here, with company over there. That's the form of a fantastic collaboration. It gets the word more. They both get to benefit from that. And ultimately, it's a fantastic USP. People say never pitch first. I love pitching first. Put the things in that make you unique and then compare against everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in our blood. It's in everybody using here. We were even in a meeting sponsoring a local football team. One of the members of my team makes them feel proud and filled with pride. Sees a logo on that over there, and then a little sideboard on the side of a pitch.
Yeah.
And you've got little brollies, and they're going around to all the mums at football in the rain. Probably the rest of this month, I don't know. But
in this country,
that's really comes down to pride. I want everybody that works with me, or even clients that are associated with us, to feel. And that's why we love working with organisations like yourself and doing anything we can.
And on that note, is that this is why I've got this section of every month's Visual PR Live. It's called the Charity Spotlight. And it really came to me is that I was having a conversation with a particular charity, and he said, "Oh, we do this." And in my head, I kind of went, "Well, I'm not going to go into the details in this one, but I kind of went, well, I don't understand why that's necessary." And I inadvertently almost dismissed it in my head. And I got given a leaflet. I skim read it. I don't mean any disrespect for that, but we're all busy. It's what happens. If it's a lot of text to read, we don't necessarily read it. But when I actually did raise the question and said, "I don't understand because of X, Y, and Z," he then went, "Oh, no, you've misunderstood." And he went into more detail, and I got it. I got why it existed, what it was doing, why it was doing it. And he really made me understand something else as well, is that charities aren't just about raising money. In actual fact, the raising money is there to help achieve an objective. And that's the most important thing. What is the objective and how can people help them achieve that objective? Yes, funding is one of them, but there could be practical exercise, there could be collaboration that we've been talking about, all these things. And that really lit something in me that made me realize I want to try and shed a spotlight on more of these, charities that we don't understand about. And this one, I have to say, I have to admit, is a prime example of one. And I'm going to now flick us into that charity spotlight section. And you've already met her, but we're going to go into detail about this particular charity.
Alone, we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Visual PR's Charity Spotlight is about shining a light on the amazing work and objectives of charities, as they do not do it for publicity, but it is important that we know about them, what they do, and understand why. Charity is not just about making a donation, it is about making a difference.
So there we go. The charity spotlight intro. I just love that we're really making a point. The problem is I'm the voiceover artist, so you still got to hear me on that bit as well. Sorry about that. It's Crystal's overload. I know it is. But massive welcome properly now to Clare McDougall, CEO of Phoenix Enterprises. Tell us, what is Phoenix Enterprises?
So it's a mental health and learning disability charity, and people come in. We're outside the pharmacy as a warehouse where people have come in and they are working. Instead of other charities where you spend your time, you might be doing arts and crafts. Here you're doing hand assembly work. You come to us for really one of two things. Either you want to progress paid work. We're a game changer because we'll give you real experience, improve your employability skills, duality, sometimes things like hygiene, time management. But we also help with CVs, and we help job searching, making sure that you find the job that's right for you. And then the other reason, there are those that don't want paid work, but they want the dignity of work.
Yeah.
And so if they go down the pub, they go to the Blunsdon Arms.
Another place.
Other people are whinging about their class or whatever, they can join in because they're in the work themselves. So, you meet everybody. There's such a joyous, friendly vibe. Everybody's working. Interestingly, the customers, so back to collaborations, we have so many partners, you can imagine. But yet customers pay us for the work our people do. They pay us at a commercial rate. What we do is we're slower than a business that makes money from doing hand assembly. We can only go at the pace of the skills they've got.
Yeah.
But that covers 40% of our overheads. And then the balance, we fundraise and grant, right? Hundreds of grants, etc. So collaborations for us, anybody that either helps us with services, websites, PR, marketing, places jobs with us, anybody that's got hand assembly work, and we actually get jobs in from Harrods, from I mean, it goes far afield. It's not just Swindon hand assembly.
Because presumably, for them, I mean, Graeme, you were talking about how having that. I forget the word I'm supposed to use, but you're really trying to give back as an organisation. Is that those organisations going to have it within their mind as they're going, hey, we need the work done anyway. Let's give something back, and we go through that route, and we accept it. We've done as quick, we've probably got less control or whatever, but what a wonderfully rewarding way for them to have that work carried out.
And in terms of collaborations, the more that you can help out, so if somebody's helping you, if you can help out back by giving them some positive PR, by giving them a great case study they can put on their website, social value, so that they can shout about the contribution they're making. I mean, you try to find those sweet spots where people get payback. So we do have loads of corporate teams. There are at least 12 organizations that have this year will do volunteering days with us. Wow. So they bring in their, like you were saying earlier, you have team members that haven't seen each other for months, sitting there doing hand assembly, chatting to our service users, giving back, feeling really proud of themselves, their organization gives them these volunteering days. And then lo and behold, they'll go, oh, we've got a charity Christmas raffle. I'm like, Peggy, and the opportunities then just
spreads, doesn't it? It naturally spreads.
Exactly. You're not forcing that. A phrase that comes to mind with what you're doing here is, there was a song, but it was a phrase before the song is give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, teach a man a fish and he'll eat forever. I said that without singing it as well. I mean,
thank God.
A bit of Arrested Development there. Yeah. But for me, that's what really, I mean, I immediately picked up, it's like we've got an ice cream van in the background now as well. Immediately picked up on that, giving them dignity, worth, growing as well in terms of the knowledge, the skills, the CV that they can actually get, look after themselves going forward, possibly a little more. The people that just don't even give them a chance, they get that opportunity to go and do it. I just love that it's not just we're a charity that's going to do it for them. They've got to step up and helping them do that. I think that's a beautiful way to do it. But the problem, the reason why I do these charity spotlights, you're on our doorstep. You're in Elgin Industrial Estate in Swindon. That just took us 8 minutes, I think, from our office to get here, and it's probably about that to go. Yeah. And I didn't know it existed. Yeah. And that's the problem that we face in this world of too much information, almost, isn't it?
But so yes, we need to get better at shouting about what we do. But equally, so it's almost like, yes, if you're in Swindon, you'll now have heard about us getting in touch because we can collaborate and do something. But equally, so anybody has to be watching this. If you aren't currently working with at least one, but or not a number of small charities, really do, because there are sweet spots, there are the give backs, and work in a collaborative way. So it's not about just dobbing some money. It might be about time. It might be about giving some expertise. Whatever skill you've got you will have HR experience, even if that is your core.
Yeah.
A
True,
charity,
yeah.
you need to do everything. So, whatever it is, there's a contribution that you can make that will be appreciated. And then don't be shy to look for the sweet spots. Don't be shy to say, actually, it would be great if I got a case study out of this. I'm delighted when
Collaboration's
somebody
two-way.
feels a good.
Yeah.
That's what makes it strong. And then you find yourself climbing Ben Nevis for the damn charity,
I'm
but
not doing
along
that.
with an MP, and then the MP happens to help you out. So it goes on.
Natural jumps,
No, exactly. It's I mean, that was Graeme, it was yourself that suggested, because I turned to always the business guests we get on, we try to make it a charity that it did or something, which I know was the impossible task for you, Graeme, with the fact that you're involved with so many. And it was kind of like just with my involvement, try to select the one. And I think, ironically, even better than you anticipated, because the collaboration that we're discussing here is fully relevant in this particular charity. How many people are, to say this, how many people are you looking at? How many people are working here at any one time?
So at any one time, about 60 people.
Wow.
And then every year, we help just over 100. So the reason is we are aiming to move those who can onto paid work, all for the first time ever.
Yeah.
But people take a different amount of time to move on.
Yeah,
of course.
The shortest we've ever succeeded is about 12 weeks.
About 3 months, that's okay. Yeah.
And others might be with us. And it amazes you that after 5 years, suddenly the breakthrough moment and somebody moves on. Also, somebody often moves on to a job and you set and then they come back to you. But it's about building that resilience, and bit by bit, they will then move on and find the best.
Well, I have in one of my other companies where I do public speaking training and things like that, and I've got this analogy that we can even apply to, say, when you learn to drive a car, where when you first start, you're subconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. Then you become consciously incompetent. You know what you should be doing, but you're rubbish at it. So you keep practicing, you keep getting instructed. But you then have to accept you go to the next phase, which is consciously competent, which means you can do it, but you've got to keep reminding yourself. You've got to have the pointers there before you eventually become subconsciously competent. And the reason why I go through that detail is that people get frustrated forgetting that they need to be that consciously competent. They think they can jump straight to the subconsciously and go, why can't I remember? Why isn't it second nature? And that will set them back a lot. Or they'll give up. They'll go, forget it. I can't keep remembering. It's like, you will. It's repetition. If we now think when we're driving, I don't have to think mirror signal maneuver. It just all happens now. But that wouldn't have been the case to start with. And so it's about making sure, and you guys are providing, as I can see, safe space that is not just the packing as a prime example down there. I saw that there's some strategic spaces that look like it teaches life lessons and all sorts of things like that. Is that a right perception?
Absolutely. And it's a person-centric approach. So whatever you need. So and sometimes it happens on site, but sometimes it happens off site. So for example, you aren't going to fall into it unless you feel some element of passion towards it. You suddenly find a glimmer that somebody's into gardening.
Right, okay.
It's about them taking you to the garden place or motorbikes. So Mark was taking somebody down to the motorbike, wherever they were both equally excited. It's about finding for each person that trigger that will make them overcome, if it's mental health, the anxiety barrier. And if it's disability, it's mental or physical, then it's those other barriers. But it's about finding the right place for each individual.
And you mentioned about the disabilities or difficulties. It's a very wide spectrum that is incorporated within that, isn't it?
Very much so. And I've learned so much. Interestingly, I've been here 2 years, and we were saying what isn't what I expected. What I hadn't expected is to like the people so much. And everyone is diverse, and people talk about diversity, but I hadn't an idea of what that really means in the real world. And the joy and the different things you gain and benefit from by being open-minded and understanding.
I mean, I always think the most obvious examples of that is autism and other associated. I even struggle to call it disabilities. I know that there are challenges, but they're such special people because they're far more intelligent than us.
Superpower in many
Yeah,
ways.
100%. Their memory, their intelligence, all of it. It's just phenomenal. I've got some colleagues on the motor racing commentary circuit that are on the spectrum to varying levels. And honestly, their recall is ridiculous. And it's like going, I could never have that. And so as soon as you understand that whilst some behaviours, I don't really know how best to say it, it might be different to our norm, there are things that they can do miles better than we ever can. And it's about understanding and accepting and working with those differences. I'm sure I probably said some of those things in a disrespectful way, but it's just that,
And apologies if we have, because it's really tricky to get right.
100%. But I'm meaning it in the absolute most positive possible way that I can say it, because it is incredible. And I get your comment about being the people. How long has the charity been going?
We had our 20th anniversary last year.
Wow.
So long time. Going back to the how organizations can help charities, I think one of the things that we're probably weakest at is marketing and promotion. And I think the reason for that is the running of a charity. You'll have somebody in a CEO position who clearly has the financial ability, the management ability. You know that you've got safeguarding, absolutely right. You really risk registers and so the actual governance piece.
Yeah,
I think most charities are pretty good at.
Yeah.
The thing that they might be less, effective at is just understanding how to do good PR and marketing, because that often isn't the skill set you'll have come in with, and your time is so focused on the running that the promotion probably comes. So, in terms of, if you are somebody out there listening that wants to give back, that is something that they're crying out for, and you're knocking at an open door, but they might not know it. So it's about helping them understand. But gel already. So we had a website that was fairly scruffy, and two of your guys, really sat down with us, understood who we were as a charity, what we were of, what was the core message, and made us concentrate on who is our key audience, who are we talking to. There was no point in us going on socials that were not matched that we wanted to. What was it all about?
Yeah, it's all about that strategy. I'm very much somebody which is like thinks on my feet. My team will probably kill me for this, but understanding internally is really, really important. So getting somebody to come along and do something is fine, but understanding internally is really important. Why don't we see if we have a couple of people like yourself who need to understand the strategies and direct, get them over to our offices and put a day on. We'll do a strategy day. Let's see if we can get 3 or 4 charity sort of people that are in charge of making decisions in direction, and we'll put a day on. And you can come by and we can probably collaborate. There you go. All the different issues which all of you individually have, with a view that you can come out of that with some sort of interim marketing plan. And then at least a direction.
Yeah,
and that's calling on all.
Sorry,
sorry, you will be in trouble for that. But I think it is. And again, that still comes back to the phrase I used earlier about teaching how to fish, and they'll eat forever. And I think that's a key thing, and that's what I love about it. Where does your personal involvement come from? What brought you here? What
into Phoenix?
Yeah.
Well, isn't life like that? It's one of those funny things where all your skills then suddenly line up in a row. It was actually one of the previous trustees rang me up and said, "You don't happen to be free, do you? We have a CEO vacancy." And, the timing was just right for me. But I've got a grandmother who set up a physical disability charity way back in South Africa. So, these things just come together, don't they, in one explosion? There you are.
Is this now take all of your focus, or are you doing other things as well?
I've got another random job, and life's too short.
Yes. No, I know that. I think it never changes, does it? To be honest with you, I think we always get that one.
One thing, just to jump in is, you know, earlier you were like, oh, I don't know how to frame this. I don't know how to word this. This is where me and my team learn from collaborating with organizations like yourself, because there's a piece out there in terms of the value that you could consult to smaller, larger companies, to make them aware of employment opportunities, things in the workplace. So, you know, we recently moved into our new office. We had somebody come around that obviously audited the building, so suitable for disability access. That was like a nationwide organization that did that. Surely that work beneath remits for organizations like yourself or others, where there's education, seminars, just another way of the name of the charity and organization, but also then delivering that knowledge which you guys have in your droves here back to small businesses like myself, or maybe others that are in charge of people or whatever in local places, to give them that education.
So this is it. So anybody who's wanting to genuinely address inclusivity, actually have a bunch of, you know, charity here with real lived experience. You know, we can absolutely chat about what it's like for if you wanted, you know, to make employability accessible. If you're Amazon with a warehouse, you know, and you genuinely want to just come talk to some of our people, you know.
That's where
it's not theory.
Being brave is, and you were brave there. I wanted to call you out and say you were being brave there. We are in a society at the moment where we don't know whether we call something a disability or a condition. We worry about how that will be perceived. That was brave to address that and to say you weren't aware of doing it. There's quite a few people that have HR incidents because they've just handled something wrong, because they've not known how to do something, and that is a cornerstone of inclusivity. It does go both ways. As long as it comes from a great place, wanting to do things right, and as long as they're that right, we can be brave colleagues, we can be open, we can say things in a way which might be technically wrong, but we understand where we're coming from. That's where the reassurance from organisations like yourself, that education piece, can really bolster that. I feel really passionate about them.
No, I do, and it genuinely has been wonderful to hear all about the charity here. I have put up on the screen phoenixenterprises.co.uk, all one word. So you can go and find out more, a little bit about that, and get in touch with the team. And I think it's fair to say is that this conversation has been very decently taken by Clare to more than not just Phoenix, but to the wider both charitable world, and with the various challenges that Phoenix looks after, that there are other places that we can be supporting all of this. And I love the description we've had of various different ways that we can be doing with it. And that's what the spotlight was all about. Yes, there's still funding is required, and I'm not shying away from that. There is most definitely funding is required. However, the spotlight is trying to make people realize there are multiple ways to support a charity to achieve its objectives, and it's wonderful objectives. We walked in here and we were instantly greeted with just such lovely smiles and brought up, let me go and find out, you can come upstairs, and they were so helpful. It was wonderful, and I love that whole feeling that it's given them that sense of purpose back, sense of helping them to go and achieve. It's not just doing everything for them. That really resonates with me a lot. So phoenixenterprises.co.uk. Do you have any final other words that you'd like to share, Claire, or have we covered it all?
You've covered it all, but if anyone's interested in anything more, please get in touch.
Please, definitely. And your website will have all your contact details, doesn't it? Graeme from GEL, thank you for the collaboration piece in particular, and obviously all the great work that you and your team do over at GEL.
It's lovely to talk to people like yourself about issues which not very many people are talking about.
No, exactly, and I've got that on the screen again, gelstudios.co.uk. I know Graeme won't mind. I'm going to put that straight back to phoenixenterprises.co.uk. It's been wonderful to speak to you both. Thank you so much for being wonderful guests on Visual PR Live. Thank you for those that have watched. It's been an absolute joy to share this conversation with you. You can see that this is why we do it, is the conversation just flows, and we could sit here probably for another half an hour at least very easily talking about this, but we'll leave you in peace now. We'll be back next month. Keep your eye out to see what episode 6 is going to be all about. It'll be the same. It'll be a business guest and a charity spotlight, but from GEL Studios and of course Phoenix Enterprise. Myself, Chris Dawes from Visual PR. See you next time. Cheers.